Welcome to Storytelling World TV. Get your listening devices and relax while listening to this historical storytale. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel to follow up. Episode 1: The Golden Kingdom. The clatter of hooves and the scream of a horn shattered the pre-dawn silence of Valoria. Servants ran from the courtyards, throwing themselves aside as a rider, cloaked in black and covered in dust, hurtled toward the castle gates. King Aldric Everhart, standing at the balcony of his golden throne room, leaned forward, his sharp gaze tracing the figure racing against time. His hand gripped the cold stone of the railing as adrenaline surged through his veins. This was no ordinary morning. Trouble had arrived before the sun. Who rides with such madness before dawn? Alden's voice boomed, cutting through the alarmed whispers of the palace guards. It is a messenger, my king! A young guard called, bowing quickly. He carries urgent news from the northern villages. Alden's eyes narrowed, the weight of responsibility settling on his broad shoulders. Bring him to me immediately. Delay is death. The rider skidded to a halt at the base of the steps, gasping, sweat and dust clinging to his cloak. My king, the villages, they are under attack, he stammered, trembling. Raiders, hundreds of them, led by warlord Quran. They leave nothing alive. I barely escaped. How many have fallen? Alden demanded, his tone cutting through the cold morning air. Too many, my king, the rider whispered. Entire families, gone. Alden clenched his fists, his jaw tightening. Send word to all generals. Mobilize the army. Every able man rides north. Valoria will not fall while I live. Queen Seraphine Valestra stepped beside him, her hand resting lightly on his arm. Alden, perhaps scouts should go first, assess the situation. No, he interrupted, his gaze unwavering. Delay costs lives. We act immediately. You know that as well as I do. Her eyes flickered, a shadow crossing her otherwise serene face, but she nodded, hiding the thoughts churning in her mind. The queen, admired for her beauty and poise, carried secrets even the king could not see. Ours became a frenzy of activity. Soldiers mounted steeds, swords clanged on armor, blacksmiths hammered out weapons, and villagers offered aid wherever possible. Alden moved among them with authority and warmth, giving orders and reassurance alike. Meanwhile, Seraphine lingered in the gardens, distant, her fingers brushing the folds of her gown as she held a sealed letter close to her heart. The soldiers gathered in the main square, horses stamping and men shouting. Alden mounted his own steed, his golden armor glinting in the morning sun. His voice rose, carrying across the assembly. Ride with honor! Fight with courage! The heart of Valoria beats in each of you. Protect our people! The troops cheered, their morale ignited by his presence. As they charged toward the northern villages, Alden watched until the last horse disappeared. Turning to Seraphine, he said softly, Valoria will endure. As long as we are steadfast, no shadow can consume us. She smiled, flawless and serene. And yet, even the brightest sun casts shadows, she murmured. Her words carried an unspoken warning that Alden, blinded by love, failed to notice. Later, in the quiet of her chambers, Seraphine broke the seal on the letter she had received in secret. Her eyes narrowed as she read, a mixture of anticipation and calculation flickering in their depths. So it begins, she whispered. The kingdom will bend, and none will see it coming. Alden walked the ramparts under the silver moon, his mind wandering to Seraphine and the life they had built together. He felt the weight of impending danger, yet could not imagine betrayal. Not from her. Not from the one he loved above all else. A rustle of movement drew his attention. A cloaked figure slipped from the shadows at the edge of the forest, approaching the castle gates. Alden reached for his sword instinctively. Who approaches? The figure raised a hand, revealing a message. Your Majesty, from the north. Alden motioned to the guards to open the gates. The hooded messenger handed over a second letter, bearing the seal of a distant ally. Alden scanned the words, his expression darkening with each sentence. Seraphine, these are worse than I feared. Quran marches with more soldiers than we anticipated. The villages are gone. She placed a hand on his arm, her smile gentle, almost convincing. Then we must prepare immediately, Alden. We cannot let Valoria fall. Prepare? He asked, eyes blazing. We must fight. Tonight, every man able to hold a sword will ride to the front. And you, stay here safe. As you command, my king, she said, concealing the thrill that surged within her. Her eyes glimmered, calm and unreadable. The castle buzzed with activity through the night. Soldiers drilled, swords clashing, shields locking, morale fueled by Alden's presence. And yet, the king could not shake the unease that lingered behind Seraphine's serene eyes. By the first light of dawn, Alden stood on the ramparts once more, gazing toward the horizon where Coran's forces would appear. Seraphine joined him, her hand brushing his shoulder, her smile radiant. "Valoria will stand," he declared. "No force can break the bond between its king and its people." "And yet," she murmured, almost to herself, "even the strongest bonds can fray when hearts turn." Alden frowned, sensing something, but dismissed it. Betrayal was inconceivable, not from her, not from the one he trusted with all his heart. "Before we continue," the narrator would urge here, "make sure to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe so you don't miss the next twist in this epic tale. You won't want to miss what happens when trust is broken and secrets emerge." The first rays of dawn stretched across the castle walls, casting a golden glow over Valoria, but the beauty of the morning could not touch the tension that lay heavy in the air. Queen Seraphine lingered on the balcony, her fingers brushing the cold stone as her eyes followed the empty horizon. The troops had ridden north, and the king's confidence radiated like sunlight, yet a quiet storm brewed in her mind. Every heartbeat carried the thrill of anticipation and the weight of a secret no one could suspect. Alden approached silently, his boots clicking against the stone. "The north will hold," he said, his voice low, carrying the authority of a man used to command. "I sent every man I could spare. Nothing will reach the heart of Valoria." Seraphine turned, her smile gentle, flawless. "I trust your judgment, Alden. The kingdom's heart beats strongly because of you." He looked at her, the love in his eyes unwavering. "And yet I feel something, like a shadow stretching across the halls. Do you not sense it?" She met his gaze, her eyes calm, almost unreadable. "Shadows exist where hearts fear, my king. But Valoria is safe. Sleep without fear." Her words should have comforted him, but instead, a tiny seed of doubt planted itself in the corners of his mind. Alden, however, would never suspect Seraphine, the woman he had loved above all else. The morning air was pierced by the clamor of horns and hurried footsteps. A second messenger arrived, clutching a sealed letter with trembling hands. Alden broke the seal immediately. His eyes scanned the words, and his lips pressed into a thin line. "Seraphine, Coran's forces are larger than we thought. Villages fall faster than reports can reach us. The people need more than troops, they need hope, and they need leadership." Her hand rested on his arm, calm and supportive. "Then we will give it to them. You have given them your strength before, you will do it again." Alden nodded, though the tightness in his chest was growing. "We must rally the northern borders, reinforce the villages that still stand. I will not allow a single citizen to fall without knowing their king fights for them." As the king issued his orders, Seraphine retreated to her chambers under the pretense of worry. In truth, she readied herself for the meeting that could seal the fate of Valoria, one the king would never know about. She opened the secret letter again, this time scanning the code and instructions for what must be done. Her lips curved slightly. "Patience and timing, it is all that is required. The rest will follow." By mid-morning, Alden returned from the war council, sweat on his brow but fire in his eyes. Soldiers were being dispatched, caravans of supplies loaded, and scouts prepared to ride ahead. Every movement underscored his determination to defend the kingdom. Seraphine met him in the hall, her gaze steady, her composure perfect. "You have done all you can," she said softly, trailing her hand along the edge of a tapestry. "The northern lands will feel your presence, and the people will endure." "Endure?" he asked, his voice cracking with a hint of tension. "They should thrive. Valoria has never bowed to invaders. And yet," his eyes lingered on her, searching. "Something feels wrong." Seraphine's lips curved into a small, controlled smile. "Perhaps it is simply fear, my king. Even the bravest hearts falter under the weight of uncertainty." Alden nodded, though the unease gnawed at him. He dismissed it, pushing the thought aside. Trust had been his shield for so long, and he trusted Seraphine completely. Hours later, the castle was a whirl of activity. Servants moved quickly, carrying messages, preparing meals for the troops, and tending to the wounded soldiers returning from scouting missions. Alden moved through it all with a commanding presence, issuing orders and reassurance. Seraphine, meanwhile, slipped into the private corridors, a hood pulled over her hair, the sealed letter hidden beneath her gown. She moved with precision, unseen by anyone, to a secret chamber where the first moves of betrayal would be made. By the time the king discovers this, she whispered, her voice barely audible, it will be too late to stop what must come to pass. Alden, unaware of the storm growing in the castle's heart, walked to the ramparts at dusk. The sun dipped behind the mountains, painting the sky with blood-red streaks. His mind lingered on Seraphine, on the people he vowed to protect, on the coming battle. Every instinct screamed caution, yet his love for his queen blinded him to the danger right beside him. Seraphine joined him silently. "The horizon is beautiful tonight," she said, her voice soft, almost melodic. Alden exhaled, trying to calm the tension coiling in his chest. "Yes, it is. And yet, the beauty cannot hide the threats that creep in shadows." She placed her hand lightly on his arm. "We will face them together, my king. Together, Valoria will endure." And while he believed her, she turned her eyes toward the distant forest, where a hooded figure waited. That figure held the key to the first step of her plan, and soon, the peace Alden had built with his own hands would shatter. Alden's mind drifted to the soldiers, the villages, the people he swore to protect. He did not notice the fleeting flicker of excitement in Seraphine's eyes, nor the way her fingers brushed the hidden letter as though it were a treasure. "Before we continue," the narrator would say here, "don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss the next twist in this epic journey. The story is just beginning, and the stakes will only rise." Night deepened, and the castle seemed to hold its breath. The moonlight cast long shadows across the ramparts, and Alden could feel the stillness pressing against him. Seraphine's hand brushed his shoulder one last time before retreating to the hidden chamber. She smiled faintly, eyes reflecting the flickering torchlight, ready to make the first move that would test the king's trust and change Valoria forever. The wind whispered secrets through the castle corridors, carrying warnings Alden would never hear until it was too late. And as the first stars appeared in the sky, the seeds of betrayal were firmly planted, ready to grow in silence. "Remember," the narrator urged, "we'll meet in the next video. Make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, and hit like. The storm has only just begun, and Valoria's fate hangs by a thread." Alden watched the horizon, unaware that the one he loved most had already set the pieces in motion that could destroy everything he held dear.